Alright, so I'm gonna try to work with this. My phone is low battery and I'm still charging it. So we're going to talk more about Native American Heritage Month, which is November. My other video I talked about my experience as being mixed race, part Native American besides mixed with black, and seen as black in this country. We have different shades through the mixture. I'm a camera skin, and also mixed with white, which I don't be seen as white, but I do mixture all my roots, the African, the European, the American. Now we're gonna talk about blood quantums laws and one drop rule. And so let me educate folks. First, I want to say the one drop rule is no longer a law. It's been abolished, found unconstitutional when what's it called it? Loving versus Virginia case. Loving which involves a person who was part Native American. Mildred Loving was part actually black and Native American. She was just black, and she was married to a white man. And she was considered black in this country at the time, and so they was against any racial laws against that. And they fought against, they was from Virginia. If you look at the movie with her, or Lee Rochon played her, Lee Rochon played Boomerang, and not Rachel Harlem. It was Harlem Night. Harlem Nights, and she also played in what's that movie? Wait to Exhale. Okay, well she played Mildred Loving. Okay, so it came out HBO back in '96. So they have it on YouTube. Somebody bootleg and copyright infringement put it on YouTube. Well, you can watch the movie. But anyway, since it was against Cocoa black and white mixing, miscegenation laws they call that. Her and her white husband got married, went to D.C. where at the time was legal to marry, because Freddie Douglass was also black, white, Native American, and was married to his white wife. His second wife was white, right? Freddie Douglass abolished, abolitionist of slavery. He was married to a white woman, and he got married in D.C. in Washington D.C. Well, this Mildred Loving and I forget her husband's name. When they went to Washington D.C., they they got married. Then they came back to Virginia by them being a married interracial couple. That's when the laws got involved. So they arrested them and they tried to talk them to divorce. And they didn't want to divorce. Once you love, so they went outside, Virginia. And so when they went to come visit their family, either laws were trying to get them again after they talked to a judge, racist judge, twisting the Bible, talking about God made different races, but actually made one race. It was the white people, not to be anti-white, who made the definition of different races. Important. So anyway, but since they had written to Congress and when Washington saying that that's not the civil rights movement, we can supposed to be married, and that's when the Supreme Court found the anti-interracial laws, which the anti-miscegenation laws, to be unconstitutional. So they allow all interracial marriages. That's why we have interracial marriages legalized. That was a true love win situation, should I say, in my belief. And then actually that's when they said the one drop rule, which was not publicized about this, but the one drop rule was found unconstitutional. So if anybody thinks that one drop rule is still legal, do your research, not living like a slave. That's all I have to say. Feel like Emancipation Proclamation. Because I live in Texas, so it took the 1965 after 63 when they made the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, well, when they found out 2 years later that they were still slaves in Texas and they didn't know they was free, you know what I'm saying? That's I feel like telling folks, hey, one drop rules no longer lie. We want to know when it's one law. Excuse me. So please, let me educate you about the one drop rule. See if the things to click, stay. Okay, looking at this. I want my video to go off because I have low energy on this phone. I'm charging around recording. It's okay. The one drop rule meant if you have any black ancestry, which is one drop of black blood in you, you will consider black. No matter if you looked Native American, look exotic, look caramel skin like myself, look brown, not dark brown skin. Even if you're dark skin with mixed blood in you, mixed hairs, you consider black. You can like white person. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have different phenotypes in the African American descendant community that was not on the slave ship coming here. Okay, I don't care what anybody said, whatever. I'm going by that logic. I believe that's true. Okay, so point is, so back in slavery, it wasn't. I mean, the one drop rule was not extreme. What means because a lot of folks come with one rule in Jim Crow days. That's true, but the origin came from, I think it was when they had the racial something called laws, especially in Virginia. I think Tennessee was the first one to make a law like that. Well, one of those states in the South, but Virginia was like the one who really got big in it. Because they said, because there was already mixing before. For example, it wasn't only just master raping a slave or seducing a slave to have a baby. It was actually because in white industry service intermarried black slaves. Yes, white sharecroppers did too. It was legal because they were poor whites and they worked in the plantation too. Okay. But when they saw many of the folks who were, descendants of slaves who married these white, for example, black men marrying white women, this happened with Barack Obama's mother's side. She's not a pure white woman. She actually descended of the first slave who came to the United States through Virginia. Stop. Oh, this thing. Stay. Okay. Through Virginia. Okay. Sorry, it's the battery acting a fool with me. That's why I'm charged. Okay, so through Virginia, NSC.com did research on this. So Barack Obama do have slave ancestry, through his so-called white mama side. So she, her mixed part black ancestors were considered free because that white woman, that the black slave had came here that married the indentured servant, she was considered free. So Virginia law had a law, and I remember reading this, through my library, online, because I'm an online student, that if your mother was a slave and you're mixed, you was a slave. You know what I'm saying? But they got scared. White folks got really scared because some of those free folks were looking like them, and they had black black DNA in them. So that's when they start making that law extreme. That's why the anti-racial mixed and miscegenation laws, they call it. All of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? They try to make blood quantities and stuff. I remember reading that on some other source. So that's really in many of the southern states follow this thing, but it wasn't because they had different law. Like in Florida, they had 1/8, so-called 1/8 of black, and you consider black. And they had folks that did like Thomas Jefferson, his mixed children. That's his sister-in-law's children. Let me explain why I say sister-in-law. Because Thomas is a white wife. Her white father is also said him as the mixed slave father. Get my point? So that's like Jerry Springer in that situation. So anyway, she wasn't raped by Thomas Jefferson. They consider rape if it's today because she was 15, her teens, while he was an old man. You know what I'm saying? And the slaves, so they had those laws start to become extreme. Even Thomas Jefferson, I read this, had let his slaves go free, and his children who looked white, they don't mention anything about me and her, go and live as a white person. That's for passing for white. Yes, that happened too. So that was trying to get very extreme. If you have any black and you were free, they tried this way to carry your papers. If you was free, because if you didn't have no papers in the South, they will snatch you and put you on the plantation. And the idea was one drop rule came for that ideology because the reason why master made babies with their black slaves or with a partial black slaves, whether through rape or consensual sex, was to have more slaves on the plantation. Get my point? So after the Civil War, and people started questioning who was white, who was black, because there was so much race mixing that happened. Only with the black and the American people mixed as well, and you had the people mixed with all three. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it became an issue. And that's when, at the Reconstruction days, when the Jim Crow law started to get very, very extreme, that's when they started to make a one-drop rule law, because they was afraid that people who look white, will pass and married in their family. You know what I'm saying? And their DNA would be tainted with black blood. Not only that, it would also make people with white DNA who did not look not white, but free as white folks because we share the same DNA as they do. Not only that, those for black Indians. I always tell people it wasn't only because of white DNA people look white. The one drop rule made for our black Indian people black because they did not want them to have the same benefits as white people, but only that share the same benefits being Native American. They had the reparations for Native American people as well. So they didn't want none of that, you know what I'm saying? And Native Americans were not considered, I did not know this, Native Americans were not considered free of citizens until the 1920s. Also, they really became citizens in the 1940s. So yes, for example, if a Native American was married to a black person, they would classify them as black, paper genocide. Sometimes they would put mulatto on them when they was not mixed with white at all. You know what I'm saying? The person was part Native American, part black. They did a lot of that in the system. Because remember they did, and people said, well, it's one rule, you're lying. One rule they had before one rule it became very extreme. After 1920, the census had the mulatto category, which is very true because from my ancestors on both my mom and dad's side, some of them were classified as mulatto. By the way, even those who were part Indian was part classified as mulatto. My grandmother's father was classified as mulatto, and he was mixed with black, white, and Native American. You know what I'm saying? He was just mixed with white and black. His mother was part black and part white English, and his dad, which is her husband, was pure Choctaw Native American. And he was not, he was classified in the 1920s and 1910 census in Harris County here in Houston as mulatto. So was his sister. You know what I'm saying? So and his mom as well. So they really did that as well. So they did paper genocide of that situation. So but then back in the 1930s, when they stopped the mulatto category in 1920, the last time they had the mulatto category. 1930s, if you had any black in you, considered as black. And many old folks in those days, knew a lot about their ancestry. Some did not know the tribe, but they knew which was who was this and that. Some kept it a secret because they had so much drama in their family due to race and colorism and all the other stuff, you know what I'm saying, and passing that happened as well. And like, for example, my great-grandfather, who's still living on my mom's side, he still withheld a lot of information, and he's still living. He's 96 years old. And why I say this because back 20 years ago, when he was 76, yeah, because I was 16. My grandma's still living. Both my grandma, my dad, and my side. But my grandmother, I will have a Spanish class. I learn Spanish right now. In Spanish class at 95. My teacher, who's Mexican, married to a white man who actually makes some Native American as well. She told all of us to do ancestry chart in Spanish, and so I had to go. I went to Clayton Library with my dad, and I found out that, of course, they try to keep hush hush on my mom's side about my great grandfather's grandfather who looked like a white man. And I was on my dad's side family, so I wasn't hush about it. And, it was the time the multiracial Indian movement was in, and, mixed race people started, become famous. Mariah Carey and Tiger Woods, all that stuff. Chelsea Smith, who win Miss USA and Miss Universe. She's from Texas here, you know what I'm saying? She's biracial, so a lot of that stuff. And Tasha talked about this stuff. So I was vocal about my multiracial background to a certain extent. And I remember, so I was trying to find more about that side of the family, and I found out, which they did classify my great-grandfather's father as mulatto in 1920, that my great-great-grandmother, who was black at the time, to my knowledge, she was married again. It was another set of family that she was married to. And that was my great-great-grandfather's stepfather and his half-siblings. And step-siblings as well. So, my grandmother knew about the family, but I know about her step-great-grandfather and the stuff. So, when I called my family, I said, Grandma, do you know about go ahead and mention the surname, Tennants? That was her last name. She said, no. We know some people connected, but When she asked my great grandfather who's still living, all cans open up. It wasn't no bad thing, but she's like, dang, how did he knew that? Because I went to Clay Library here in Houston and found it out. And I'm like, well, y'all told us about the great grandfather who like white men, but y'all ain't tell that grandma Anna, that was my great grandmother, was married again. You know what I'm saying? So I was shocked. And then my great grandfather found more about his background, that his grandmother was part, and his mother was part Native American. And I found out more, so I even asked him on the phone back in 19, excuse me, I'm so old. Back in 2012, when I moved to my apartment, I said, called Grandpa Red. I said, so what tribe was, such and such this? And he said, I don't know. And let me let you know the reason why he did not know. Because he grew up at a time where if you had any drop of black blood in you, you were black. So it did not matter what tribe, all that, he knew about her having long silky hair, black silky hair. And, that was his grandmother. And, you can look and tell, he's my shape. He's real light. They're on red. And he has some of the features of Native American ancestry. So in some of my relatives, like my grandmother, she has Native American, her features Native American mixed with African features as well, and so her siblings, So I was like, wow. And I would like to know more. So I'll talk to you later. I said, well, I want to see pictures, because they said that my great-grandfather, who did like a white man, he has that picture of him. And I'm like, why y'all ashamed of the Creole background? And they live around Creoles and have, what I'm saying? Besides me live around Creoles, besides my grandfather, or my dad's side, dark-skinned Creole, who did not talk much about his family tree. I found for relatives. I'm living around next. I went to church with Creole people, what I'm saying? Light and dark, in between. I'm like, dang, why y'all so, I went to Zydeco's at my church, what I'm saying? And y'all go to Louisiana, go gamble, my mom's side of the family. Yeah, this is our culture. Why y'all ashamed of that? You know what I'm saying? Y'all over some doggone, I'm going ahead and say it, cooning. These folks are cooning, talking about people, they're afraid of who going to attack them. So-called black nationalist type folks who think anything ghetto, like any low class, is black. They so proud of being black, why would they choose the lowest bad stereotypes about people saying about what black is? They all choose the good things about being black, the up class things about being black. They choose the low class, so they afraid they gonna attack them for mentioning anything about they mixed backgrounds. They have to pretend to hide that they were pure black, or they come in different shades, but they gotta go along to get along. I refuse to go that route. So, I'm not trying to, these folks who make us as people of African descent look bad, you gonna try to make a pressure for them? Hell no, I ain't doing none of that part. So I'm not denying nothing for these folks. You know what I'm saying? I deny if it was my choice, it'd be different. It was me doing it for my own. But I ain't denying nothing of my background to please somebody, especially who choose to go low class and make stereotypical behavior that make us look bad. That's exactly my observation I saw. So, you know what I'm saying? So, no, I ain't trying to do that. I ain't trying to hear it. How you doing? So that's how I looked at it as growing up, and I said I ain't denying HIT for nobody. So ever since then, I really got really started to know more. So like my point is, a lot of elders withhold information, but there were elders who didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandmother's, she withhold more about some other stuff, but she told folks, me and her family, was told about who was listed on my grandma's paternal side, on my dad's side of the family. You know what I'm saying? So, and about us being mixed with Choctaw, you know what I'm saying? She knew about that. So, so when I want to find out I was 7 or 6 years old, which it was probably 3 years ago, find out about me being part Choctaw, Native American. Actually, Native American, but I found out the tribe was Choctaw. I was telling everybody, I got Indian blood, you know what I'm saying? So it was something, and I was glad that I mixed with the African and American at the time, and I found out it was the white part of the English, the French Creole part of me. So that's when I really, just, shocked that why are we withholding and denying who we are for some idiots? You know what I'm saying? White racist people and people in the African American city who ain't pure black either, but want to claim pure black. They don't know anything about Africa, but they'll pick the negative stereotypes that people say about black people and portray it. If you don't go along to get along, they try to attack you. Man, for them clowns, for them coons, no, I ain't deny my rules for them. No. So that's my point. We withhold a lot of information. So I do want to find out what Grandpa Red's mother's maternal side of the family, what tribe she. I know they're from Virginia. I found that on the census as well. But I want to find out what their tribe was, whenever I mix with. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's more about our history that we withhold a lot. And that's them to tell people, black and African, Native American white DNA, stop denying who you are for idiots. These folks don't care nothing about you. You pleasing people within the African American and outside for idiots. Idiotic stuff. You're not doing it for yourself. So I'm not. These folks, you know what I'm saying, they ain't all that pleasable to be pleasing. You know what I'm saying? Right, racist people and racist people who don't have no knowledge of really who they are themselves either. So that's when I really, got a wake up call about that. I said, forget these folks. They ain't all that special to please. So that's when that's how I get my fiery multiracial pride from. And not to go in detail about but that's how the one drop rule and blood color hurt our family. And if it wasn't for the one drop rule, we would know a lot about who we really are, not about what people want us to identify as for racist policies. And that's what I'm saying. So going back to the one drop rule, that's how that people in African American city who are partially Native American start to be, had to forced or they claim pure blackness when they're not pure black, whether they light skin, dark skin, hair, string, curl, kinky, whatever, okay, whatever phenotype they have. But in one that also hurt us the most was also the blood quantum. And let me explain what blood quantum laws are. Blood quantum laws were made by white racist people back in the old days who was trying to stop intermixing with Native American and white people. They try to cause genocide. So, if a mixed race person, biracial person, who's part Native American white person, let me cut the finger off. I'm getting sick. This finger, stop. Thank you. Okay, was to marry a white person and make kids with that person. According to blood quantum law, they would lose percentage of their being Native American. They would consider me white. That means they could not show no benefits of being Native American. They could not get no checks, that other stuff, free college fund, all that other stuff. They cannot own casinos. They can't do nothing. And also, they would no longer have tribal membership with Native American within the Native American tribe. So they be kicked off. For example, half breed. That's all I ever heard. My singing voice in here. Half breed. I learned to hate the word half breed. Okay, let me sing Cher's song. My mother was pure Cherokee. My mother's family was ashamed of me. They said that I was white by law. The white man called me Indian squaw, something like that. Okay. I hope I'm saying the lyrics correct because I love that song. Because I'm not feeling good right now. I can't sing right now. Cher was talking about the fact that his mother is not only mixed with Cherokee, I found she also mixed with white as well. That the Indian side of the family was ashamed that her mother married a white Armenian man and made her. And then you can see the mixing. That Cher's sister is real fair skinned, blonde. I think she's blue eyed as well. And she was a dark one in the family. And you can tell if you look at Cher, she looks lighter. I'm not saying she's bleaching her skin, but she had a natural tan when she was with Sonny Bono back in the 70s. She had long black hair before she wearing wigs and stuff. Cause now she wearing different wigs. She wear her own hair too, but she had real silky long black hair. what she was saying, the name of the Indian nation going by the blood quantum law, she was no longer a Native American because her dad was white and her mother had white DNA. She didn't mention that she was not pure Cherokee. That was a law, found that out, but her mother was part Cherokee. And so they was ashamed of the fact that she married a white man and made these kids, and they were no longer be part of the Native American, by law. So it was kicked off. They moved through the town, and white folks made fun of her for being part Native American, give her fact she's a Cherokee, you know what I'm saying? So in the lyrics Half-Breed, that's what she's talking about, because the Bureau of Indian Affairs made by white people made an institution lies racism with blood quantum laws. They did not want mixing with white people in Native American. They try to cause genocide, pay for genocide to Native American classifications. For example, that's why census show that Native Americans are the minority, the huge minority compared to other ethnic groups. Which is now, we can check more than one box on this. Like I did, I checked black, white, Native American. We start to show more evidence on Native American ancestry on the census now. But that was the real reason why. They was trying to stop race mixing between whites and Native Americans. So if you was white and Native American biracial, if you married a white person, made kids with a white person, and your children continue to do that, they'll no longer be considered Native American by that stupid law. They're considered white, which is, I don't understand how y'all can be scared of Negro blood mixed with one drop rule, but you got Native American mixing in. That's still not white, okay? So that's how, and many white, biracial, Native American people who was kicked off of the Dar Rose, whatever what was his name? Charles Darrow. I forgot because I was reading more about him. He was a racist person as well. The Darrows Commission or whatever. They accepted being accepted in the white community because, back in those days, being white was right. You had a nice house. I'm not making fun of the American people. I'm just putting, so for example, a person who was mixed with black and white, or who looked white, passed for white, they would not be living in a ghetto, okay? Well, they live in a nice house and mansions and live like Hollywood stars, okay, and rich and famous, okay? That's exactly what white Native American folks who was kicked off, who lived in white communities, they'll be living like white people. They have to worry about, nobody questioning them about being white. They white on birth certificate. They'll mention they got a name, but it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So that was the real reason why. But it's so funny that when I'm not making, because if you are mixed with the American, be proud of it. But you have those, I was very offended by this. That's why folks do not like us mixed blood Native Americans. And as a mixed blood, I'm very protesting against this. That some would choose to find out Native American roots and own casino, which is, I have no problem with that. I mean, if I, find out, will try and get validated as a trial, I wouldn't have my own, but I'll still give back to the Native American community. I ain't gonna sit here rob the Native American community, which is meaning the white Native Americans who will find out that they're mixed with Native American. Some will try to get, rip off the benefits of Native American, people, and that's not right. Not contribute back to the American community, just take the money. And this is no different. This is no secret, because people in the Cherokee tribe, they had purists who didn't own slaves, but they could call them 5 civilized tribes. One of them was Cherokee. They also, the white and the American mixed biracial people was the ones who owned slaves as well. They really assimilated big time before they got kicked off when Andrew Jackson kicked to Hitler, version of the United States, kicked the tribes off their land and made them go to Indian Town, which known name Indian Town, Indian territory, which known is Oklahoma. So they were really, was trying to assimilate to white cultures big time, especially they were part white. So this is no biggie, okay? And I'm not saying white Native American people are bad, because I'm part white Native American myself. I'm also mixed with black, but I always tell people, I wouldn't, and I'm not trying to stereotype, because I can't speak for every black person that's part Native American, but many black Native American people, I would not, since we have a history of being oppressed, would not do that to Native American people. I mean, I hope that's nobody not like they would do that, okay? But that's exactly what happens. And so that's why some Native American people who don't look, we even don't look Native American, or we may have some features and skin tone like this caramel complexion besides a white mixture in the family tree, contribute to me not being so dark brown, but also the American mixture could be as well. We don't get recognized Native American because we don't look Native American, but we get seen as wannabes, and because we have these folks out here claiming to be Native American, and which is they have a right, they have it in their DNA, but they want to claim it just to get some money and steal the money from Native Americans, which is not right. Because I'm sorry, if I get money for being Native American, I'ma still be active. That's why I'm making this video. I'm still gonna be part of the community that I'm part of, besides the African American community. You know what I'm saying? The multiracial community. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and just just claim to be Native American just for the fun of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna give money back. I mean, wasn't for those Native American people, my African ancestors who was running for plantation, they wouldn't have a place to go to. And that's how they mixed up. This is my Native American ancestor. This is where our Native American ancestors found this country before some Columbus claiming he did. So it's just not in my heart to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I understand, but don't put all mixed blood Native Americans, in one pot and think we all that, trying to get the money thing. You know what I'm saying? I still don't get a lot of money because, being mixed with Native American, I still claim it, you know what I'm saying, along with my white ancestry, you know what I'm saying? So that debunks that argument, but that's what happens. So us mixed black Native American, also mixed white as well, triracial, biracial black Native Americans, we get, we got that, the blood quantum mess coming in. If you have 1/4 and all that became a problem, so that's why the tribes started to kick off the mixed black freedmen people out that tribe, that mess, okay? So that's what all that stuff, because a lot of Native Americans start to buy into the blood quantum BS, but they'll complain about them being the genocide, and there's no Native American people here, which is, there's many of us out there, we assimilate and mixed into other races. Y'all get that point? Okay, because we have that DNA. And we're not classified, we have to, now we can classify ourselves now, but back then we couldn't do that. So that's what the really detrimental, that's why, and what really got people, when like I just mentioned, 1967, the one drop rule was considered unconstitutional. People didn't publicize that, to now. You know what I'm saying? It's sad. But that's when the black nationalism started coming in. The Marcus Garveyism that W. Du Bois, which I'm with W. Du Bois part on this, debunk and try to get rid of, which I'm with the old NAACP, not the new one that went against a multiracial category. I'm with the old NAACP when doing the Jim Crow era, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm with. And I'm with W. Du Bois when he went against Marcus Garvey about a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So black nationalists like the Nation of Islam and Black Panthers and many other groups start to attack people who will say, I'm mixed with Native American. You're not proud of being black. Let me ask you a question. If we don't have pure black DNA in us, and we say we're proud of the black and Native American in us, that's being proud of who you are, and white as well, you know what I'm saying? You're proud of the whole of you, not the, one portion of you. Yeah, I just get on my nerves that people will start to make that, but back in the 70s, that was going on, and many people who claim they're not racist, who are not black, start to adapt black nationalist views. I don't understand. You can get mad at the Nation of Islam, but you would pick books out of Elijah Muhammad's Message of Black Men's books, and that not people like myself out with it. You know what I'm saying? That's very hypocritical, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't buy into it. I mean, he did set up Malcolm X to get killed. I don't like Elijah Muhammad or his politics. Even his son did not like his politics after believing that Waz Fard, who was so-called Master Fard, who was mulatto, who was dark-haired and dark eyes with olive skin, and everybody thought he was Mexican or a dark-haired white man or part Asian, Final Nation Islam, he thought he was a god, thought he was Allah. And many Muslims would straight up tell, true Muslims would tell you, you don't make a man God. Like, for example, as Christian, we believe that Jesus Christ is God. You know, we have the Bible to back it up, you know, but there's people will come up and say, well, Muslims, you know, we don't believe he's really Jesus Christ a prophet. You know what I'm saying? So, that's his, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's exactly that, you know, they would say about Elijah Muhammad saying that Mustafa was Allah, because Allah means God in Arabic. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why Waz Muhammad, which is Elijah Muhammad's son, he named after Waz Far, left his, you know, made his own group. But point is, Elijah Muhammad and his crew did send Malcolm X to get killed. So what it tells you, you know what I'm saying? You're talking about black on black violence. What they tells you. So anyway, but that's my point. I don't believe in none of that stuff, and you know, they can call me a coon, but they don't want me being coon, taking a white racist ideology about one drop rule and Jim Crow ideology that we should be segregated. Okay, I'm on my head. Why you're not going to Africa? You don't claim your Indian roots, Native American roots. You don't claim pure blackness. Then get on a jet and go to Africa and stay there. You know, Marcus Garvey talked about that too. Okay, so why are you here? You know, so I'm not going back to Africa. I'm saying I will go visit Africa, but I will tell you this: when I'm talking stereotype Africa, until they get rid of that Ebola crisis going on, I go there, but I'm not going there. You know, every time I donate plasma, they will always ask or go to the clinics for doctor. They ask you, have you been in these countries? You know, these African countries. I say, you know, I don't have no money going on dog on Africa. Have you been to Europe? I ain't got no money to go to Europe either. So both of them are homeless besides North America. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't got no money to go there. I'm poor. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but until they clear that Ebola crisis going on, I'm serious. When Duncan, the dude from Liberia, came over here lying, say he didn't have it, last year that scared the heck out of me. Yes, it did. You know, anybody else in the airport with him, please don't come. You know what I'm saying? I was scared, you know. So, you know, but until that, I would love to go to Africa, especially Equatorial Guinea, since they speak Spanish, and I speak Spanish myself. The African countries, you know, speak Spanish down there, and I'd love to go do tours and sing, you know what I'm saying, and do music over there, you know what I'm saying. So, you know, I would love to go there. And I meet a lot of Equatorial Guineans here in Houston that be speaking Spanish. People be looking at us. I don't care. I speak Spanish. Say, how you doing? Me some manos, my brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying. So, boy, they laugh because they're not used to hearing brother or sister. You know, Africans are not used to hearing that, you know, until they live here for a long time. Anyway, but point is, so that's how that identity got screwed up. You know, one drop rule and blood quantum, Jim Crow racism, black nationalism, white supremacy, all that stopped us for claiming our roots. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that we have, you know, back then, Native American and African Americans were like this. But when them things came in, it divided who we really are, us from the Native American community. You know what I'm saying? Although I'm hearing stories that people did live on reservation who was partially black, you know, to this day, older people. So I want to hear more stories about that because it's educational to us. We don't learn about that in school, especially here in Texas. You know, y'all talking about how Texas history wanted to get rid of slavery and they wanted to rewrite the whole history. Please, that ain't nothing new. I'm from Texas. The stuff that I've learned outside of the classroom, that I talk about in my videos, learn about going to Houston Public Library, learn about true internet sites that talk about this stuff. I learned a lot, okay, outside the classroom, not from the classroom, because as a person who identified as a little child, trying to learn about my multiracial background at the time, you know, I like where the black Indians are. And I know that Frederick Douglass was partially Indian, Native American. Besides, I didn't know he was white. You know, I didn't know he was part white. I learned that later on that Frederick Douglass' dad was a white plantation owner and his mother was black and Native American. They thought he was pure black. So I'm thinking that this man was a pure black man fighting against slavery. He was partially black and Native American white. You know what I'm saying? Then I know he was married to a white woman in his second marriage. They ain't talking about that either. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they kept a lot of information out. You know, they ain't talking about us Creole people. mixed with Creole. They ain't taught, I had to learn a lot of stuff outside the classroom. I had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of digging in the public library. And I'm like, why I ain't talking about this? Interracial voice back in the 90s, by Charles Michael Byrd, who is partially Native American, white, and black, and look like a dark-haired white male, either Hispanic or maybe Italian. He was the editor and owner of Interracial Voice back in the 90s. I communicate with him sometimes on social media. Well, anyway, he talked about these issues, and I was learning about my culture and heritage from those sites and multiracial activists and stuff, and Black Indian sites and stuff, more than I read more in FrenchCreoles.com than I read from my classrooms in elementary and middle high school. And I was hurt that they edit our history like that. The book I was reading about was Black Indians by William Katz. Actually, speaking of William Katz, I met him. They were doing a presentation about Black Cowboys in 2006. I was in El Paso Community College. I went to I went to John Quinn El Paso. I was in the college program, and I went to El Paso Community College for the first time in 2006 when I was 26 and 27 years old. During the summer, in June, I went to, because I had to attend summer classes while I was staying in Job Corps. And it was my first time going to summer school besides Job Corps, okay? So, when I went to El Paso Community College, and after I came from reading class, they were doing a presentation on, I went to use the restroom, do a presentation of Black Cowboys, and these white folks, Black Cowboys. I said, yes, I know you're talking about, I know this man talks about Black Indians. I read part of his book. And I thought the dude was I didn't mean to point African American man who makes a name American, but I thought it was him. It was a white man. So I got excited. I said, you the man did? I said, thank you so much. You taught me more about my identity and stuff. And he was like, I was shocked there. I told him that. He was at Paso Community College. So I was glad to see this white man who actually was not one droppers, not one blood crossing defenders, who actually talked about Black Indians, Black Native American people. And, I mixed heritage and roots and stuff. And in the Black Cowboys PowerPoint presentation they had at Paso Community College, the Valverde campus on Hunter Drive, they taught, it was an interracial couple where an American woman and a black man was married, and he was a cowboy. So they really, I was so glad, and I was telling this mixed race woman who's part Mexican, part white, who I was actually in love with at the time, who was in my class that I was trying to go with at another side of it. She was sitting next to me, so I was, feeling, and I'm like, dang, we mixed, and we looking at the situation here. You know what I'm saying? So, I really was happy, and I was glad that they was talking more about us, and it was people who Black and Native American, man who was brown, mahogany, maybe by color or probably darker, who came, the older guy like my uncle on my mom's side, who came, he brought the book with him and said, this is the man, and we was all excited to see this, because this man wrote a book about who we really are. So I suggest everybody to get Black Indians by William Katz with a Z, okay, K-A-T-Z. He written a big book about us. He talks about detail about who we are. I remember I mentioned on my first video about the American Heritage Month topic 1, I think. I mentioned that I used that book for my school for my essay on Black Native American people. And before I go, the reason why I did that, stop it. Oh, dang, this stupid thing got on my nerves. I wish this thing would go ahead and charge while I'm charged fully. Anyway, the reason why I did, because we had to do projects on our final paper, immigrants, Native Americans, African Americans, and women. And I wanted to do something on combination of both, since I'm mixed with African American and Native American. And my professor, who was white, allowed me to do it. He was so happy to me being in his class online. And I got a good grade for it. Yes, I did. Although my EPA format was not good, but I still got a good grade for it. So I suggest people to do research on who we are since the American Heritage Month, and we should be in this, and we should be talking about who we are and stop letting one drop white racist masters identity define who we are. Stop letting that does not help us. You know what I'm saying? You know, we should be proud of our partial black roots, but also be proud of our Native American roots and white all together, because that's who we are. We can't deny who we are. That's how we got here. So, what's for the race, them three races and mixing, we wouldn't even be here today. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just stop being so ungrateful and stop buying into racist policies that's no longer a law anymore that you try to adapt to because of the culture. I always tell people, if society says jump off a cliff at school or smoke crack, what you do it, you gotta be your own person. I'm a big defender and believer in being your own person and staying out the crowd. I like being unique. I can't be like everybody else. I can take some things sometimes, go along with the crowd on some things, but not every doggone thing. I'm sorry, I have to be my own person. Y'all know I'm a unique person. I love being my own individual. You know what I'm saying? I love to stay out the crowd. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I hope so a lot of people, I'm going to do more detail about the blood quantum, the paper genocide, that's what we call it, paper genocide. You can deny it, or partial Native American roots and multiracial roots, because not only paper genocide happened to the Native American people and mixed race Native American, we also happen to multiracial people as a whole. We didn't have multiracial, of course, they had a lot of category. There was a short period of time there, but on the census, but still, they still did not want multiracial colonization because they knew that it would cause more mixing. And mixing still happened anyway in those days, So, anyway, but that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm so excited that EWTN is going to do Saint Kateri. She was the first Native American woman to be canonized as a saint in the Catholic Church. She was a Crow Native American woman. She converted to Catholic Christianity, and her life story is going to be shown next week on the EWTN. So, that's a Catholic evangelistic channel. You can go on EWT.com and watch their the movie next week on her life story. She's the reason why she's canonized because of us, because we believe the communion of saints. That's people who the holy ones that Revelation chapter 5 and 8 talk about. That the incense and their prayers the angel brought to God. To say thank you. So people do prayer in heaven, and one thing that Jesus said that nothing dead. Another person, but I know this. God is not the God of the dead, God of the living. And even St. Paul talks about, I think, is it Romans 9 or 8? About God. That there's no death. The life separated power separate us from God, from Christ. So the body of Christ, there's no death that separates from the people there. The church militant in heaven. So they do pray for us. So so the righteous man or a righteous person, so I would say, if you want to use for a woman, James chapter 5:16, it's effective. So the reason why, because when Jake Funk Bonner, who was a little boy who was diagnosed with flesh-eating bacteria, he almost died. His family prayed, and they also asked for Saint Kateri to pray for them and asked God to cure him from this situation, which he did get cured. When he did get, medical procedure, but he ended up being alive and survived from this and healed from this flesh-eating bacteria. He's now 15 years old. So since Vatican, the Vatican Pope Benedict heard about this, that's when they canonized in 2012 Saint Kateri, being the first, not the first name, because what's his name? Diego was canonized. He was Native American. He's from Mexico, but you know what I'm saying. So, but y'all know the politics of race when people say stuff like that. But still, she's a Native American woman who canonized. And her life story is going to be told on EWTN. It's a movie about her, and it's going to be shown next Wednesday. So you can look it on, if you don't have EWTN on your cable, you can look online and watch her, heroic story. and she had died of smallpox. And she became a Catholic Christian. Her family persecuted her for, and it's one thing that Jesus talks about in Matthew 10, that, the enemies in the household, mother against daughter. Y'all know that part. So that happened. It happened in my life. It happened in hers as well. So that's and so she, she was, she sees Jesus every day. Jesus answers her prayer, to help this young man who was dying from back in 2006, I think, of the fleshy bacteria in Washington. And I think, Jake Funkburner is part named American. I think his mother is Latina because her name is Elsa, but she could be named one U.S. named American. Of course, Latinos makes her name American, but his dad's is named American as well. And so that's the reason why that that she was canonized. So watch her story, and I'm glad they brought this up since it's the American Heritage Month, and that they honor and venerate Saint Kateri, for her honor her well-being in her becoming a Catholic Christian, and also praying for people who with the fleshy partitions. She was a person who suffered from smallpox. So anyway, y'all, bye bye. Have a nice day. God bless. Bye bye. Have a nice day.